Yeah. Okay, let's see what Glen Bennett's got to say.
For us on this side of the House, it is about the survivors we stand today. It is about the survivors that my colleague, the Honourable Willie-Jean Prime, put in a request for a debate, because the survivors have been asking us, have been pleading with us to actually speak up and speak out in this House around what we can be doing to do what is right. What is right. It's not easy doing what is right. It is not cheap doing what is right, but to honour, to help in the restoration of mana for so many survivors, it is about doing the right thing. That is why we on this side of the House stand. That's why we on this side of the House are doing our best to be a voice and to push government, it is to be political. It is to be political for the right decisions to be made. When just under a year ago the Royal Commission report was presented in this House, the byline of it was through pain and trauma, from darkness to light. From darkness to light. And that is the challenge we are wanting to continue debate in this House, but as we move forward, how do we move from that darkness into that light? And it is about an apology, but it also is about us as the state, us making bold, courageous and difficult decisions to restore mana for those who was lost often for many of them many years ago due to what we as a state, we as the church have done. And it was a couple of weeks ago, I turned on Whakata Māori and saw the documentary, The Stolen Children of Aotearoa. And for anyone who hasn't seen that documentary, which follows a number of survivors, I challenge you to watch it. It is not easy to watch, but it creates more of the story. It creates a depth of the story for understanding for us, not only as a parliament, for us as a community, to look at what we can be doing because of what we did do in terms of how we ignored and how we swept this under the carpet for so long. And I just want to challenge the government, and I want to challenge the Prime Minister directly in my contribution this afternoon, as he stood in this House with a full gallery, with this parliament full of survivors who heard him apologise last year. And I want to quote him, because he said, "I know that financial redress is important to many of you, and no amount of money will ever make up for what you have endured." And then we went on to say, Madam Speaker, that many of you, understandably, do not want to engage with the current redress system. He said that, the Prime Minister, he acknowledged it. And he also committed to this year, in 2025, establishing a new single redress system that will be operating in the year to come. Well, we're in that year, and then last Friday, survivors are handed what the government handed them, and it's not okay. We look at what the Royal Commission recommended as well, Madam Speaker, and they also talked very clearly about the fact that survivors are looking and needing a system that is designed specifically for them to be independent, for the redress to be meaningful. Because why would you go back to your oppressor with your hand out asking for some crumbs? Why would there not be a separate system set in place, Madam Speaker? And finally, I just want to reflect on the survivors. And as I watched that documentary, we heard people speak who were in the Ipuni Boys' Home. We heard people speak who were in other spaces like Kimberley and Lake Alice. And those were institutions that this Parliament ratified and supported. And we need to come back to the survivors. We need to come back to those places that this system allowed to establish and say no more, because we need to look forward. We need a separate system, and we need the government to do what they said they were going to do and create a new system.
God, as I'm writing notes when people are talking, the notes are just getting more and more aggressive. So
I'm not surprised. I mean, what do you expect when you just want to rage while trying to keep that rage within because of the sensitive nature of the topic?
Yeah, I mean, look, what can I say other than the coalition turned this into a political debate by making the choices they did. And these choices, they all add up. They chose to prioritise tax cuts for like tobacco companies and landlords. They chose the second-hand fucking helicopters, the melted plastic lunches, the boot camps, the charter schools that no one fucking wants, the treaty principles bill that went nowhere. You know, they could have chosen to go guns blazing, creating a new redress scheme that is independent, Crown entity and survivor-led, but they didn't. They chose to cut public sector jobs that
could have done the work.
They could have done the work, but they didn't. And look, I understand Erica Stanford making the utilitarian argument of, well, you know, shit happened, I'm doing the best I can. Look, I understand where Erica is coming from, but that doesn't really work for survivors when you got Luxon standing up making stupid statements.
Yeah.
You can't, you can't, I'm sorry, your boat is flooded. You can't pail the water out with a cup. right? The damage is done. You're fucked.
Yes, exactly.
Titanic has hit the iceberg.
You've gone past the point of no return in many cases. Yeah. Do we try Joseph Mooney or do we just save the rage?